Hey everyone, it's the one and only magnificent bird, Beak, speaking to you today. And in today's video, I am back at it with another Walking Dead City spoiler review. More specifically, this is going to be the Season 2 season finale spoiler review. And oh yeah, we got some things to talk about for sure. I won't give any indications away. We get some eeny meeny miny mo. Okay? That's all I can say. I did get I got some predictions right and I got some predictions wrong. Let's just say that for sure. One prediction I wasn't expecting it to happen, but yeah, we'll get into it. Oh man. And then not only will I be going into the spoiler review, I'm also going to be ranking all 8 episodes from worst to best. Now, just because I might rank an episode in the lower part of the list doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad episode. I just think there are significantly better episodes than others. So just, keep that in mind. Trust me, out of these 8 episodes, there's even the episode that I have ranked as the 8th least, like the worst one out of all 8 of them. The worst episode in this season ain't as bad as the Say Yes episode from season 7. Now, that episode was god awful. Like, I'm just, that was a pretty bad fucking episode in all of Walking Dead history. So, anyway, before we get started, I hope all of you are doing good and staying safe out there. And like always, if you like the video, leave a like, leave a comment to tell me what you thought of the season finale. And yeah, if you aren't subscribed already, feel free, if you would like to, feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you know the second I upload to YouTube. And if you want to share the video, that would be great too. If you do any of those things, that would be very much appreciated. Now, what did I think about this episode? It was definitely it was something else. It all I can say is I significantly enjoyed Dead City Season 2 significantly more so than Season 1 of Dead City. I will say that. Now, if Season 3 is anything like Season 2 of Dead City, absolutely bring it on. I want more. 100%. They are setting up for a Season 3, but not in the way that I thought. Well, not kinda. We're going to get into it shortly. So, if you're into this point of the video and you are not caught up and you don't want to know anything, this is your time to click off the video. And if you are clicking off the video, I do thank you for your time and for your support, and I'll catch you next time. Now, for those that want to stick around, if you're caught up, or if you just want to stick around and hear what I have to say, or you don't care about spoilers, thank you so much for sticking around. So we are going to get into it in 3, 2, 1. Here is the Walking Dead City Season 2, Episode 8, Season Finale. If history were a conflagration, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I've never even heard of that word. Spoiler review. I've never heard of conflagration, by the way. If you know what it is, let me know down in the comments, because I have no idea what the hell that means. But anyway, we're going to get into it. So, What's the future without the past? What's an ending without that old story? That's the question that Negan ponders in this season finale, which forces Maggie to find a way to move forward with her son Herschel by putting the past behind them. That old story is Maggie's 15-year vendetta against Negan, the one that started on The Walking Dead, of course, when Negan beat Glenn to death with Lucille, widowing Maggie and leaving her unborn son without his father and, in a way, his mother. Which, because her obsession with wanting to kill to kill Negan, and that's pretty much put them, Maggie and Herschel at a distance, and that's why he's latched on to Dama as a mother figure. You got what I'm saying? But obviously, Dama admits that she doesn't give a fuck about Herschel. She is just using Herschel. She admits that, by the way, in this episode. I mean, yeah, like she's a manipulator, so it's not surprising. So, in the series finale of The Walking Dead ended with Maggie and Negan reaching an uneasy understanding. Negan apologized for killing Negan, and Maggie acknowledged that she couldn't forgive him, saying, "I don't want to hate you anymore. I don't want to hurt like that, and I don't want my son to see that anybody has that kind of hold over me." Maggie and Negan then went their separate ways, with Maggie relocating the Hilltop Colony to the Bricks, and Negan leaving Virginia with his wife Annie and son Joshua. So, back in season 1, Maggie tracked Negan down after his former savior underling, the Croat, who kidnapped Herschel and took him to the Isle of the Dead. That is, obviously New York City, Manhattan. Negan, a wanted man on the run from New Babylon, Marshall Armstrong, agreed to help Maggie get her son back from the Croat on one condition: she shelter his orphaned ward, Jenny, which we're gonna get into. So it turned out that Negan had killed Jenny's father, so I guess that was legit, and that the Croat strong-armed Maggie into bringing Negan from the mainland to Manhattan by taking her son. Maggie gave up Negan to the Croat, who proceeded to hand him over to the Dama, a power broker who wanted Negan to unite and lead the city's gangs to defend the island's resource power generating methane gas from New Babylon, a federation of states under the control of Governor Byrd, deceased Governor Byrd. Okay, so now, literally, season 2 has been a literal power struggle between New York's main power players, which includes the Dama and Bruegel, leader of a rival gang that the Dama tasked Negan with getting in line under threat of invasion by New Babylon, who sought to replace their dwindling ethanol supply with methane. Negan was able to convince Bruegel to join the Dama's alliance, only for Bruegel to plot his own power grab. That's why he had Christos and his people killed, because if he got into power, there could potentially be some old grudges there, and he wanted to get that out of the way, right? And obviously, Bruegel wants to kill the Brazi, and he wants to kill Negan and Croat and Dama so he can have Manhattan and the methane for himself. So, in all of that, Negan turned the Croat against the Dama before exiling him from the Brazi. The Dama's manipulations turned Herschel against Maggie, obviously, and Bruegel turned on Negan as he co-inspired with New Babylon with Armstrong to seize the methane. Now that the table has been set, so let's go ahead and talk what actually is going on in the episode. So, it appeared that the Dama died during a Negan-caused confrontation with the Croat, long unappreciated and unacknowledged for his brilliance in producing the methane powering her empire. A physical altercation ensured that the Croat a physical altercation ensued, and the Croat tossed her into a table, knocking over lit candles that caused a fire, and then he left the Dama to die as she was pinned beneath a overturned clothing rack while the room was consumed by flames. And obviously, probably in that moment, the adrenaline of her dying kicked in, and she had to rip her clothes and she had to rip her hair to get free. And we're going to find out, and obviously, as we learn in the episode, she had actually had grabbed a walker that was already dead and held the walker down to burn to a crisp, and that's how she got away. So there you go. The charred, like I said, the charred corpse that seemed to be the Dama was actually one of the zombies, as she tells Maggie, as she was telling Maggie she let the zombie burn until it got nice and crispy. How the Dama managed to escape in order to fake her death. Yeah, so there you go. That explains how she was able to get away and who that corpse was. It was just a walker. Because Maggie is now, is now a prisoner, right? And she's all tied up, and Maggie notices that there's like a file cabinet with a set of keys, and she ends up, because she notices that the file cabinet is under like a rug or some sort of plastic, and she ends up not pushing, but pulling the file cabinet with her foot closer to her, and and the key falls out, and then she's trying to use the key in order to cut her restraints, Maggie that is, and when Dama comes in there and explains how she got away, because like Maggie says, I thought you were dead, there was a body back at the cathedral, and she explains that she used a walker to burn its body up to make everybody think I'm dead, right? That's when Dama notices that the key is missing out of the lock. So, so Maggie is forced to give up the key because she's like, I don't want to have to hurt you or anybody else, referring to Herschel. So, after she says, I don't want to hurt nobody else. So, she ends up giving her the key back, and, that didn't really work out in Maggie's favor. So, obviously, the Dama has a hold on Herschel, who resents his mother for the hold that Negan has had over Negan, or has had. Jesus. The Dama has a hold on Herschel, who resents his mother for the hold that Negan has had over Maggie his entire life. Okay, so because Herschel never knew the old world, the Dama explains to Maggie he can help build the new world. She tells Maggie her son could dream up something that you and I never could, and they'll need someone to protect the new world, Dama says. The Dama wanted that to be Negan first threatening to harm Herschel to coerce Negan into acting as her enforcer, and then using Negan's family as her leverage. But after he turned the Croat against her and nearly got her killed, the Dama manipulates Maggie into going after Negan. Herschel told her how capable Maggie is, so the Dama sicks the widow on the man who murdered her husband. So Negan, back, I think it was episode 5 or 6, I believe it was. So Negan had told Maggie where she could find the methane, but you know what? It might have been a little bit earlier. It might have been episode 4. My bad. Negan had told Maggie where she could find the methane for New Babylon before warning her that Herschel was helping the Dama. After Herschel led the Dama to his mother, that's right, the little pest, then sold his mama out to the Dama. In the last episode, Maggie awakens as her prisoner, right? This is what Dama says. I would have thought that we have this in common, wanting Negan dead, but I understand, the Dama tells Maggie, when Negan is up, you feel the need to knock him down, and when he's down, you have to prop him back up. You're stuck in a loop. You can't let it go. You can't let him go. And how could you? He murdered your husband violently, gleefully, after losing so many people who meant so much to you. Your mother, your father, your sister, now your son. He needed you. He still needs you. Yeah, Dama, man, she just, ooh. Yeah, she's a manipulator for sure, dude. Like, the performance is really good by Lisa Emery. Yeah, it's pretty good. I would say she's a pretty good villain. I will give her that. But how could you be there for him when you couldn't be there for yourself? The Dama continues accusing Maggie of neglecting Herschel and nurturing her hatred of Negan. It's okay, Maggie. You can still get him back. Negan is still out there, widowing wives and orphaning children. Only you can stop him. Only you can kill him. Don't do it for me. Do it for you. Do it for Herschel. Set yourselves free. Maggie, then that's when Maggie is cut free, and Maggie and Herschel have a conversation, and Maggie admits to Herschel that she still hasn't moved on despite trying to get past the hurt that Negan caused her. I'm not over it yet. I've never been over it, Maggie says, and that is something that's going to be hard for Maggie to ever get over, if she ever gets over it, which that was a life-altering moment for Maggie, having to watch Glenn get his head beat in and eye pop out right in front of her while she was sick and pregnant. Like, that is the type of image that is never going to get out of Maggie's head, no matter if she continues to let Negan live or kills him. That is something she will never forget until the day she dies. So yeah, that is something that won't easily be forgotten at all. I think about him all the time. I think about what he did, and I know that I have to let it go. I know that it's the only way, but no matter how hard I try, I can't seem to do it. I'm sorry. Herschel, apologizing for his betrayal, tells Maggie he knows she's tried, but it hasn't worked. I want us to be a family. I want to move on and be free, Herschel says, but there's only one way, and then we can just be done with it. We can start over to that. Maggie tells Herschel, I'll finish it. The Dama smiles, having maneuvered Maggie into taking out Negan. Well, let's see how that's gonna go. By the way, we never got any Croat in this episode, which I thought was interesting. So I'm assuming Croat is going to be back in season 3, by the way, because there was no mention, no appearance of the Croat, so that was pretty interesting. So I'm assuming he's going to make it to season 3. Okay, so now we're going to skip on over to Negan and Bruegel. Oh man, this is where the fun of the episode kind of gets into gear. So Negan agrees to meet Bruegel for a meeting. So Bruegel and his men, they bring in this statue of this like 13th century Spain statue, I believe is what Bruegel said. And Bruegel explains that I brought it as a peace offering, as a, because you could certainly use it to spruce up the cathedral. So, and then Negan and the Brazi have all this food laid out, and of course Armstrong is with Bruegel, by the way, still. And oh yeah, before this, Armstrong is questioning Bruegel where. Yeah, Armstrong is questioning Bruegel where Jenny is, and we actually find out how Jenny got to the cathedral. She didn't walk all the way there. Bruegel and his men actually gave Jenny a lift to the cathedral. That's when she just all of a suddenly popped up at the cathedral, so I'm kind of glad that they went back and answered that. So, like, in her condition, for her to walk all that way, like, I just, like, that kind of pushed some believability. So, them giving her a ride to the cathedral, right, that makes much more sense. So, I'm glad they were able to clear that up and get that information out. So, they are getting that statue together, and Bruegel, I guess he's going to his room, or he's going down a hallway, and the next thing you know, Armstrong he attacks. He doesn't really attack, but he pushes Bruegel up against the wall. He's got this knife to his throat, and he's trying to tell Bruegel that Jenny is confused, that she doesn't really want to kill Negan, and that now Armstrong, he fucked up here. You know how he fucked up? Because Bruegel said that Jenny came to me, and she, and this coming out of Bruegel's mouth, right? Bruegel said Jenny came to me, and she said to me that I want to kill Negan, so that's why we gave her a lift at the cathedral. And now see how Armstrong fucked up is because Bruegel already knew that Jenny meant something to Negan, but now, thanks to Armstrong, Negan also means something to Jenny, so there you go. He can use that as sort of as an insurance policy, because now he knows that, oh god, now, Negan actually means something to Jenny, and, so that's how Armstrong messed up there. And so they go, so we're going to get back to the cathedral. And so Armstrong's like looking around as they're presenting all the food. And Armstrong says to Bruegel, like, something's not right. And, Bruegel says, we ate before we come here. And I assumed that Negan and them had poisoned the food. Well, that's not the case. They had something planned. So Negan and a couple of his people sit down and dig in, and next thing you know, they end up flipping the big table over, and here comes a barrage of walkers out of the table. And they shut all the doors to trap them in, by the way. And before this happens, Armstrong notices that there is gasoline on some of the benches. So he's the only one to notice it before the shit hits the fan. So the doors are closing, and Well, the reason that they really brought the statue was because they had hid Bruegel and his men had hid all of their weapons in the statue, and Armstrong ends up tipping it over. So yeah, Negan's flamethrower and Walker wielding Barazi attack Bruegel's gang of silk stockings at St. Patrick's Cathedral after Armstrong learns that Jenny came to Bruegel while gunning for Negan to avenge her father. Despite her attempt to kill him, Negan risked his life to get Jenny antibiotics and a ventilator to help treat her worsening infection. She was impaled during a scuffle between New Babylon and those people when she got cut by the tree branch in Central Park. That was episode 5. Yeah. Armstrong stops Bruegel from going after Jenny. Okay, so all hell is breaking loose, and Bruegel and his people get weapons, and there are flamethrowers going, just shooting off, and it all ends. And oh, by the way, Negan, while all the chaos is happening, he's just sitting back eating the apple, which I thought was the funniest fucking thing of the whole ordeal. You got all these zombies chowing down. You got all these zombies chowing down on Bruegel's men. He's just sitting there, just having a good old time, and he's chowing down on an apple. I just thought that was the funniest thing of the whole episode. So the shit hits the fan, and Bruegel ends up acquiring himself a flamethrower. Like, oh, fuck, that crazy motherfucker's got a flamethrower. And there's one of the Brazi's flamethrower men that, and this was kind of his own fault, because the guy, he was just looking in one general direction. He wasn't paying attention whatsoever to anything else going on, and Bruegel just sets him ablaze. That was kind of his own fault, because he should have been a lot more alert. And when Bruegel gets a flamethrower, he tries to spray Negan with it, and that was a kind of a cool scene where he's just kind of going around the room and trying to catch Negan on fire, but he ends up catching a Walker on fire, so they have to kind of go back into the cathedral. So now Armstrong, okay, not Armstrong, but Bruegel is in the cells or the basement where Jenny's at, and he's got the flamethrower, and he notices and he hears that ventilator machine where Jenny is. I'm like, oh fuck. So he is going to end up killing Jenny like I had predicted. Well, not so fast, because Armstrong stops Bruegel from going after Jenny with a flamethrower, but Negan has them both captured by the Brazi. Bruegel blames the coup on Armstrong's people. But come on, can you fucking trust the Bruegel? No. Because he's like, oh shit, Bruegel, he knows that he's surrounded. He's like, getting all nervous. He's like, it was his idea. There's at least 50 of his people back at the park, like trying to talk his way out of it. And Negan knows that he's full of fucking shit, because thanks to Maggie telling Negan that, yeah, by the way, the Bruegel wants to kill you and everybody here. I'm just, letting you know this, by the way. So Bruegel tries to blames the coup on Armstrong's people and tries to talk his way into making a deal with Negan to get the methane, beat New Babylon, and bring back the old world the way it used to be. Not just a couple of blocks, but the whole city, the whole fucking planet, Bruegel pleads. And then you and me will be back on top, the winners with all the spoils, just like it used to be. And then Negan says, that's all you want to fucking talk about is the methane. That's all you want. That's your favorite word. How can I trust you? That's your favorite word. And this was a great fucking scene, by the way. And what happened here, I did not expect it, but it was still great. It was great. Honestly, it was. It was. So while all this is happening, Maggie eavesdrops and watches as Negan, wielding the new electrified Lucille that the Croat made for him, forces Bruegel and Armstrong to their knees. Uh-oh. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So they're both Bruegel and Armstrong are on their knees for a game of eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And by the way, I think I spelled mo wrong, but oh fucking well. I added an E to it, it's fine. Like I could see somebody saying, oh, he spelled mo wrong. Who cares? Like, dude. Anyway, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So they're going to play a game of eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Maggie recoils in horror at the familiar sight. This is a callback to season 6 and season 7. I loved it because, like, oh shit, not as many people, but I'm like, okay, I know what they're doing here. Hell yeah, okay. But this time, you got one pretty bad person in the lineup and one, like, so person that, you know, so Maggie recoils in horror at the familiar sight. Negan in a black leather jacket swinging a barbed wire covered baseball bat, picking a victim in a lineup as he did all those years ago with Glenn. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by his toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Negan lands on Armstrong, but decides he wants to kill Bruegel first because he points at Armstrong, but he's like, you know what? I actually want to kill. He's like, you know what? I really want to fucking kill you first instead, Bruegel. So as Bruegel begs for his life, Negan grabs a tube. That's right, because Negan is like, no, not Negan, but Bruegel, he's like, what about the methane? And that's when Negan says, methane, methane, methane. That's all you know how to talk about. That's all you want. If you want the methane, you got it. And that's when he goes over to the flamethrower, unhooks one of the hoses, puts the hose in Bruegel's mouth, and you can see he grabs a tube from the flamethrower tank and puts it into Bruegel's mouth and forces him to inhale the methane. And then he takes the tube out of his mouth. Negan grabs a lit torch and sets fire to Bruegel's mouth and then brings the bat down on his head, bashing Bruegel's brains into pulp like a fucking watermelon, triggering a visceral reaction in Maggie. Goodbye, Bruegel. Although, I will say I didn't expect Bruegel to die here. I thought he was definitely going to live into season 3, but my god, I have to say that was very, that was so cool. That was, he's like, motherfucker, you want methane? You got it. He shoves that tube in his mouth and lets him inhale the methane, puts a torch to his mouth, and his face is all like, it's like all disgusting looking, and obviously he's dying, so he's like, I gotta put you out of your misery. Wham, wham, over and over until it looks like a watermelon has been smashed. Like, oh my god. Not as gruesome as Glenn, obviously, but it was still pretty gnarly. Like, damn. It was a lot quicker than the Glenn one. The Glenn one was a lot more torturing. It was a lot more visceral. So, obviously Maggie is seeing this, and it doesn't look good from her perspective because she already has a certain viewpoint of Negan at this point, right? So before he can swing on Armstrong next. Okay, so actually Armstrong actually ends up getting away, and he ends up running into this room where I'm assuming the methane tanks are, and Armstrong picks up this weapon to try to hit Negan with it, and both of them are fighting. He's got Lucille, and Armstrong's got a tool or something in there, and unsurprisingly, Negan overpowers Armstrong, and he's about to lay down on Armstrong because he pretty much tells Armstrong, look, you could have left and you could have not came back, but it's too fucking late now. So he's about to kill Armstrong. So before he can swing on Armstrong, Maggie is following them. Maggie ends up sneaking up on Negan and stabs him in the lower back with a knife. Not Maggie, but rather Negan drops Lucille and flees, leaving Maggie to pick up Lucille, the replica of the bat used to kill Glenn. As Negan crawls away, slithering to safety, Maggie goes after him to finish it once and for all. But will Maggie actually be able to do it? Will she actually be able to do it this time? Trust me, Maggie has had plenty of opportunities to kill Negan. She's had multiple chances to kill Negan. She ain't never done it before. She's never done it before. She's had plenty of opportunities to do it. Will she actually be able to commit? Will she actually be able to commit to killing Negan? Well, as you can see, she catches up to Negan. She's got that baseball bat, got Lucille, and when Negan, here's where we have our answer. Negan gets to the cell where Jenny has been resting, recuperating, only to find that Jenny died, having succumbed to her infection and is now a walker. What did I say about Jenny? I just didn't see how she was going to make it to season 3. I said that Jenny was either going to become a walker due to her infection or that Bruegel was going to kill her, and either one of those could have happened, and one of those did happen. And Negan, oh man, we got some incredible acting here between Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Lauren Cohan. Oh my goodness. And when Negan sees the fact that Jenny is now a walker, oh my god, it's like somebody had murdered Lucille, his real wife Lucille, all over again. I mean, although she died of cancer, but it's like somebody had ripped his heart out again and stabbed his heart. Oh my goodness. Negan sobs and Maggie withdraws a blade. Maggie, looking, she's got that certain look. Before she and Negan and Armstrong saw the walker of Jenny, she was ready. She was ready to kill Negan, but Negan sees Jenny first because the door is shut and she's like reaching her arm out, and then Maggie sees that Jenny is dead, and that anger in her face, it all suddenly just like goes away. It softens, and there's sadness there in Maggie's eyes, in her face, and you can tell in this moment that nah, she ain't gonna kill Negan, because she is thinking in her mindset, I was gonna kill Negan, but the fact that I see Negan here lying on the ground with the knife in his back, and he is crying the way he is over Jenny, she's thinking, why kill him? Let him suffer a little. Let him live with this. This is probably what she's thinking in her head at this moment, because you can even see it here in the thumbnail. She doesn't have a look of anger. She has a look of like, do I really want to do this? Even though I don't like Negan, I never will like him for killing my husband, but in this moment, you can feel the raw emotional pain that Negan has of having Jenny died, and even that's affected Maggie to the point where she can't fucking do it. So Maggie takes out a blade, and Maggie, she's about to kill Jenny, but Negan is like, no, 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 no. And he stands up, and obviously by that, Maggie realizes that Negan is the one that wants to be, is the one to, he's the one that wants to put Jenny down. So Maggie ends up handing the knife to Negan, and then Negan rather plunges the blade into Jenny's head, putting her down. And I mean, that, I got that she sided, I know that she temporarily sided with Major Asshat, but damn, that was just a, whew, that was a sad scene, especially for Negan there. Oh my god, it's like somebody had ripped his heart out and stomped it and stabbed it like 100 times over. Like, oh my god. I just didn't see how Jenny was gonna live. And by Jenny dying, that saved Negan's life. So that was another opportunity that Maggie could have killed Negan and she didn't. So there you go. So Negan mourns Jenny's death and Maggie decides not to kill him. So some great stuff. Great acting between Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Lauren Cohan here. And then Armstrong in the background, great shit. Great shit by both of them. Perform acting wise, oh, it was fucking phenomenal. It was great. Ooh. Man, I was like, oh man, are they actually going to do what I think they're about to do? Are they going to actually kill Negan off? I kind of thought that for a second because she did stab him in the back. But no, Jenny's death saved Negan. Like, if it wasn't for that, I think Negan probably would have been a goner. I do. So, how does season 2 set up for season 3? So, not Negan, but rather Maggie and Armstrong get Negan to an apartment and they end up laying him on his stomach, and Armstrong pulls the knife out of his back and they end up bandaging him up. And I mean, Negan, for God's sake, he ended up getting his throat slit by Rick with a piece of glass and he survived that. So I think a knife stab to the lower back ain't gonna kill him. Like, I was like, okay, yeah, Negan's not dying. Like, yeah, they'll pull it out, they'll stitch him up, and he'll be fine, right? So, Negan regrets that Jenny died alone, and Maggie goes back to Herschel, and when she gets back there, Herschel can just see it in her face that she didn't kill Negan. And oh my god, that sets him off. Like, boy, at this point, if I would have been Maggie, I would have bent him over my knee and whooped his ass a good couple of times. He needs it. So yeah. So okay, so Herschel says, you said you understood. You said we could start over, but you didn't mean that. He yells as the Dama's like hiding away in a corner listening to all this, by the way, when this happens. Because at first Dama comes in and she has kind of a hint of a smile, hoping that Maggie killed Negan, right? But as this conversation goes on, the Dama sneaks away. It's the same as it always is. And then Maggie says, we were wrong. It's not like how we said. And killing Negan would only make killing Negan would only make it worse. Maggie tells Herschel, adding, that's not how we're going to move forward from the past. He's furious with his mother and says he and Dama will get there together. Whatever the hell that means, we will get there together, building a new world. But then Dama says earlier in the episode that says to Maggie, I know you're thinking that I'm using your son, and you know what? She admits it. I am using him. So at least she's like not hiding it. Yeah, she's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm using Herschel. So what? Like, that's her mindset, Dama's mindset. So Maggie says, I know what you're going through. You think that you want to run off and be somebody else different. You want to hurt me. You want to hurt me back. Just know that I will always be here for you. I won't leave the city. Herschel leaves to go off with the Dama, and Maggie cries as both of them are separated. So I kind of got that prediction right. I said that Maggie was going to kill the Dama, and that was gonna be the catalyst to Herschel turning on Maggie. It's the fact that she didn't kill Negan that turned him further away from Maggie. So I kind of got that right, but not for the same reason as I thought. Right? So yeah. So it looks like Dama's going to be sticking around, which, honestly, I'm not opposed to that. I think she's a great villain. So to see more of the Dama, I'm not opposed to that. I'm just like I'm really confused by that. And okay, by the way, one thing I did forget, let's go ahead and get to it now. So when all the fighting is happening between Negan and Bruegel and all of their men, Benjamin is up on the roof. Benjamin is up on one of the rooftops with one of Negan's people, and they're talking like, she says, you're just a big pussy for not wanting to get mixed up into the shit, right? That's what she says. And then next thing you know, this guy with a shotgun just bursts through the door and blows her away, and he points the shotgun at Benjamin, and he's like, who are you with? And he's like, with New Babylon, which, he was originally with New Babylon, so he gets to live. So I thought Benjamin for sure was going to be a goner. No, look, he's going to go into season 3 as well. That I was surprised about. I was even more surprised that Benjamin outlives the Bruegel. Like, oh my goodness. Ah, that I was surprised about, to be completely honest with y'all. Oh my goodness. So now let's get back to what we was talking about. Maggie, Negan, and Armstrong hole up in the city as they watch the second wave of New Babylon army march into New York to seize the methane. So where do we go from here? Maggie asks. Armstrong recalls the riddle that Rokasan imparted to him earlier in the season. Walking through the woods, a man comes to a fork in his path. To go left is to go home, his past. To go right is to go out into the unknown, his future. He says he knows his past. It's comforting. But will it be like he remembers? And his future is full of possibilities. But what if he gets lost? Which way does he go? He goes left. We see New Babylon historian Benjamin lead the New Babylon army to the methane plant as Maggie narrates the next section of the riddle. Back home to the way things were, but all that's waiting for him is an old story that hurts too much to remember. Elsewhere, the Dama with Herschel at her side watches New Babylon take the cathedral, so he goes right, but there's nothing there for him either. Negan joins in and says, because that's the future without the past. What's an ending without that old story? The truth is, there is only one way forward, one way to move on. We gotta work through what was. Maggie continues with Negan coming in to get to what will be. Maggie and Negan's words play over the past, because we see a monologue of like all of season one as they're all saying this. When and then they continue, when the enemies made their way into New York together, Maggie and Negan's voices become intertwined. It's a path that's hard and rough, all uphill. We keep thinking we'll never make it. Sometimes we see where we're headed. We catch a glimpse of the mountaintop. It's so beautiful. It takes our breath away, but then we lose our footing. We tumble backwards, right back to the bottom, so that it feels like we'll never get up again, but we do. We help each other up, and the path becomes much clearer now. We move on. Negan remarks with Maggie finishing together. In the final words of the episode, Maggie and Negan say together, and we get there. And that's how the season ends. So we have the New Babylon rolling on in and taking control of the methane and possibly Manhattan. And we still have Dama. She's still alive. The Croat was nowhere to be found. Brugel's dead. He got his head smashed in like a fucking watermelon. Jenny died, which I got that pretty spot on. Which, I mean, it wasn't hard to guess based off of what's been happening if you've been watching. But Bruegel, though, Bruegel dying, I didn't see that one coming. I gotta admit, they got me on that one. I was certain that Bruegel would be the main villain going into season 3. So don't tell me that Benjamin don't fucking tell me Benjamin is going to be like the one of the main villains or some shit. But I don't see him really turning on like Negan or anything, because you got to think about it. Benjamin originally came from New Babylon and he was held there as a prisoner. So, if anything, he's just going back to where he calls home. Now, I wonder who the leader for New Babylon will be. Obviously, it's Armstrong. It doesn't seem like he's going to be going back. So it does seem like that Negan, Maggie, and Armstrong are probably going to be working together. That's an interesting trio. I think they have learned that, yeah, you're not going to forgive me, and I've tried to apologize like a million times. I get that, but they're both of them are in a situation where they got to put aside all their bullshit, and they got to work together. They got to work together in this present moment, and when they finally get done with all of this, they never have to work together ever again. So, before I let you guys go, I'm going to rank all 8 episodes from worst to best. So, in the 8 spot, the number 8 place, I'm going to put episode 3. That's the one where Maggie and Armstrong and New Babylon all meet Rokasan and her group. Like, I mean, again, that episode is not all that bad, but like, it was like really weird. And like, Negan really didn't have a whole lot to do other than he killed that guy, Wyatt was his name, I'm pretty sure. But I just feel like the other 7 episodes were significantly better, so something had to go in the last place. So episode 3 is going to be in last place. In 7th place, I'm going to say I'll go with episode, I guess I'll go with the first episode. Not to say that it was bad. Like, the biggest highlight of the very first episode was the fact where Negan had gathered all of those people, the Dama, Croat. Negan had gathered everybody into the cathedral, wanting to get everybody working together in the way he shocked the shit out of Christos. And then as Bruegel and everybody else was walking out of the cathedral, the power was coming back on. That was the biggest highlight of the episode for sure. So, and I thought it was a little bit better than episode 3. So, the season premiere is going to go in 7th place. In 6th place, I'll have to go with episode 2. I believe that is the episode where Croat and Negan and all of the Bratzi are making the Walker methane bombs when they blow the New Babylon boat to high sky, right? Yeah. I would say that one is better than episodes 1 and 3, but again, like some of these episodes they have to go in certain places. So, yeah, episode 2 I'm going to have to put in 6th place. Now, in 5th place, this is kind of where it gets a little tricky. In 5th place, inside the top 5, I would have to say I'm going to go with episode 7 in 5th place. Nothing too crazy. The only crazy reveal that happened in that episode was the fact that Dama was still alive, and that was surprising as hell. So I'm going to go with episode 7 in 5th place. And then you had that whole supply run part where Negan goes on the supply run in the hospital, which that part was fine. That part was creepy as hell with the children, with the Walker children. Like, yeah, that was creepy. And then the reveal of the Dama being alive. So that's why it makes it in the top 5. In 4th place, I'll have to go with episode 6 in the 4th spot. The big overall thing that happened in episode 6 was obviously the bear, the big mama bear. Well, I don't know if it was a mama bear. No, I don't think it was. No, it was just a bear that was angry and pissed, and that honestly was the big highlight of episode 6, so it deservedly goes in the 4th spot. In 3rd place, I'm gonna have to go with episode 4. Yeah, so that means the season finale is in the top 2. So, anyway, episode 4, that's the episode where we get more of an introduction with Bruegel, which I thought that was a great episode, and we got to know his personality a whole lot more, and the fact that he's got his champion walker, which really wasn't a walker the whole time. It was his friend or his bodyguard Tony that he had held captive, and once Negan realized his secret, he told him that, yeah, I know you're fucking bullshit and that's not a walker. And so Bruegel easily agrees to an alliance, and then he ends up killing Tony because, the secret's out. So there you go. In 3rd place is the 4th episode of season 2. In 2nd place, I'm going to have to go with, this was a tough one, but in 2nd place, I'm going to have to go with episode 5. I almost considered this at putting this as the best episode, but it was like really close. This episode 5 and episode 8 could absolutely be interchangeable, like absolutely. So I would put, episode 5 in 2nd place because we had, not only did we have Christos and his group die, we had Rokasan and her group all get perished. We had Major Asshat get killed. And then at the time, we thought we had the Dama get killed. And we get to see all of Negan's scheming and planning to, how can I cause in-house friction? How can I cause the Croat and Dama to be at each other's throats? And that was some great shit with the episode. So it was very close. So episode 5 is going to be in 2nd place. And in 1st place, in my opinion, the best episode of season 2, I'm going to have to go with the season finale of season 2 of Dead City. So, I mean, it had some surprises like Bruegel absolutely getting his shit smashed in like it was a watermelon, and then you had the callback to Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo coming into play. Then, we almost have a situation where Maggie almost kills Negan, and then we have New Babylon coming in to take over the methane, and Jenny dies, which that was a really sad scene to see, even though she did what she did, and that was so sad for Negan there. And yeah, and now Maggie has realized that she's just never going to get over what Negan did, no matter how hard she tries. And now that I think they have come to a realization that they are definitely going to have to work together for now. And Dama's still out there alive. We'll see what she gets up to in season 3, which I think obviously she's going to be the main villain. I thought Bruegel was going to be the main villain, but that obviously isn't going to happen. And I thought it was a great fucking episode. I enjoyed this episode the best out of all of them. Although episode 5 was pretty fucking good too. So yeah, that is my list from worst to best. So yeah, I don't think I have much else to say. So we'll see. Yeah, no more Walking Deads on Sundays until September the 7th, which is going to be Daryl Dixon season 3. And I gotta say, the Walking Dead AMC, they absolutely pulled it off with the 8 episode format. I hope to God that Daryl Dixon, they need to get away from 6 episodes. 6 episodes is not enough. I will say in season 1 of Daryl Dixon, 6 episodes, that was fine. I didn't have a problem with Daryl Dixon season 1 being only 6 episodes, but when you get to season 2, it felt too rushed. Like they could have used easily 8 episodes at the minimum, and it would have worked better because they wouldn't have had to rush all of those deaths. So, yeah, I hope that season 3, I hope they learn from Dead City season 2 and say, you know what? Maybe we need to make Daryl Dixon going forward 8 episodes, 8 to 10 episodes. 8 episodes would be that fine line of like, okay, that can definitely be acceptable. And you don't have to rush. You don't have to rush. With 6 episodes, you have to rush certain stuff, right? But I don't know. We'll see. Now, I don't know. Next Sunday, what am I going to get up to next Sunday? I don't know. Maybe I'll have another. Maybe I'll be chatting with AI Angry Grandma again. I don't know. We'll see. Because now I don't have to do these reviews. Yeah, I much prefer season 2 of Dead City over season 1 easily. Like it ain't even a fucking contest. Like I had low expectations going into season 2, but I walked out of season 2 just absolutely blown away. I love the callback to the Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo with Bruegel and Armstrong in this episode, and the fact that we did get to see somebody get Lucille'd. Like that was pretty great. Not as brutal, but I mean it was still pretty brutal. So yeah, it was a great episode. I personally enjoyed it. So definitely bring on season 3 of Dead City. So it'll be interesting to see, will the Croat return? Will he try to get back to his hometown of Croatia? I mean, we didn't see him. I think Croat could somehow get back into the fold of things, depending on if that actor wants to come back or not. But yeah, my voice is getting a little hoarse, so I am gonna go. I bet this is probably gonna be the longest review, but I had a lot to get into. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say for this one. I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support and for stopping on by. And if you had any thoughts on this season finale, Good or bad, definitely feel free to let me know. For sure, I would love to hear your thoughts if you have seen the episode. And if you are new, welcome on in for the very first time. I'm glad to have your support and thank you for your time. And I am Buck Beak, and I'm gonna go fly away back to my nest. Until next time, bye, guys.